Hey, it's Maximo and welcome to Maximo's Travels. In this video, we'll be exploring the remote, rugged, mountainous terrain of the Iya Valley on the island of Shikoku, Japan. We'll get to drive on many narrow, remote and treacherous mountain roads on our way to the rugged, remote but sublimely beautiful Iya Valley. I'll risk life and limb to climb a 1,000-year-old vine bridge with huge gaps between its planks where you can see all the way down to the valley floor below. Then we'll get freaked out by seeing hundreds of lifelike scarecrows at Nagoro's Scarecrow Village. And we'll even see James May, well, his scarecrow effigy anyway, and we'll drive on until we reach our remote hotel for the night. The next day, our sightseeing plans will be thwarted by closed roads and snowy weather conditions. We get to drive on treacherous snowy roads as we leave the Iya Valley. Join me as I go well off the beaten path and start to explore Shikoku's island, rugged and remote Iya Valley. It was our last morning in Kochi and we woke up to sunshine and beautiful blue skies. Our first stop was the Inochi Paper Museum, about 14 kilometres and half an hour away from our hotel in Kochi. I covered our visit here and Joe's experience in making paper in our previous video. We then headed towards the Iya Valley. Our destination was the single vine bridge in the Iya Valley, located in the mountainous heart of Shinjuku Island. It was a journey of around an hour and 20 minutes and around about 80 kilometres. We were hoping the roads would be quite passable and manageable, but you can't really tell from Google Maps, as our experience over the last couple of days showed us. So we've just arrived at the first vine bridge, and this is a huge visitor centre and shop at the top of the bridge. Didn't expect this. We found it. It does look slightly precarious. So basically, to cross the bridge you need to walk over the higher proper bridge And that's the starting point, the entrance and toll gate for the bridge. Let's go. The path was a short walk of only a couple of 100 metres. There were quite a few stairs involved, and you did require a modest amount of fitness to navigate them. The ticketing booth is at the entrance of the bridge. So 550 yen entry per person. No infants allowed. Funny about that. Crossing the bridge looked a bit terrifying. Reluctantly, I drew the short straw and was the one that was assigned to cross the bridge while Joe filmed at a safe distance. Well, here I go. Oh, Jesus. Oh my God. I'm trying to take good footage, but it's easier said than done. Oh, the bloody thing's swaying. Oh my God. I'm not very far across either. Oh my God. Oh my God. No, I don't like this. Don't like this at all. Look how long. This is a long way. What do I get myself into?
How was that?
That was frightening. Frightening. It was swaying, it was moving. No, I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all.
But you did it.
No. I'm sure that vine bridge was perfectly safe, but the gaps between the slats of wood, allowing you to see all the way to the bottom, somehow made it psychologically terrifying, and I was glad to be on the other side. After leaving the vine bridge, we continued along a path that provided a fantastic view of the Iya Valley, and the path takes you right past Biwa waterfall. It's not a very high or large waterfall, and quite strangely, there's a house perched right between the waterfall and the Iya Valley floor. While it was unique, it did spoil the natural beauty somewhat. We continued along the path and down some steps. The steps looked quite new, and if I was a betting man, I'd speculate that these steps had been rebuilt after the last flood that hit the Iya Valley in 2019. The steps led all the way down to the floor of the Iya River and Valley. It was a beautifully sunny day with bright blue skies, and we did marvel in the warmth of the sun while we roamed around the floor of the Iya Valley. The landscape here was sublimely beautiful and tranquil, and we were lucky that the river wasn't running very fast. And this is where the lower part of the Biwa waterfall ends up, joining the Iya River. There were quite a few people down on the river bank, and no doubt it's because entry was free. After taking heaps of photos and videos on the riverbed, we made it back up the steep steps. There's a wedding party on the bridge. I don't think that would be my idea of how to get married, but anyway. Frightening and stunning all at the same time.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
We stopped to have a couple of dangos each on the way back to the car. Dangos are sticky rice balls on a stick served with sweet soy sauce. They were absolutely delicious, the best that we've ever had in Japan. We then hopped back in the car and travelled along twisty mountain roads that were mostly good to our next destination, the Scarecrow Village. This journey took us about 45 minutes and we covered 26.5 kilometres. The standard of the road was pretty good, apart from a couple of different sections that were full of roadworks caused by landslides. There was some fairly impressive engineering that went into building this road in the past. And as for our experience in the rest of the island of Shikoku, especially the mountain areas, the landscapes were hugely impressive. We'd almost reached our destination and we received a message as well as a flashing sign in yellow that the road was closed ahead. We decided to try our luck and press on ahead. The road did get increasingly narrow, however, and the terrain and foliage changed to be a lot more heavily forested. There were quite a few cars coming in the opposite direction, so that was a promising sign that the road ahead was open. The higher up the mountains we went, the narrower and steeper the road seemed to have become. We were starting to get a sense of déjà vu about travelling on narrow, sketchy roads. We were travelling along what should have been a major road, Route 439, and the elevation had already reached around 700 metres. We kept driving up and up and up.
Continue for 4 kilometers.
I believe this area of the road had been hit by a landslide several months earlier and was under reconstruction. Thankfully for us, the road appeared to be open. We continued to drive up and we could clearly see that we were about to hit the snow line. The sun and blue skies had given way to dark clouds and quite cold temperatures. It was only 2 or 3 degrees above zero. We were somewhat concerned it was about to start snowing. We turned one more corner and then we saw our first scarecrows. We'd finally reached the small town of Nagoro. the Scarecrow Village. That's quite spooky, really. Quite spooky. So we've arrived at the Scarecrow Village. It was quite a drive. The roads were pretty good in parts and very, very narrow in other parts. A lot of construction work going on, and had to yield to incoming traffic or oncoming traffic quite a lot. Not that much in the way of traffic, but not very wide roads. And here I am at the village, and I've got to say, it's quite cold. It's probably only about 6 degrees. We're at 900 meters elevation, so quite high, and I'd say that we're only a couple of hundred meters below the current snow line. So my advice to you, if you wanted to come here, is make sure that you don't come in winter, and probably sort of mid-March or late March onwards would be the ideal time to come here. The village of Nagoro certainly is well off the beaten path. It's about an hour away from the nearest train station, and while buses run here, they run quite infrequently. The village used to have more than 300 people, but sadly they've either moved away or passed away. Today, there's less than 30 residents living in this small isolated village. And one of the few remaining residents, Ayano, a local artist, has created hundreds and hundreds of different scarecrows that are full-size effigies of former residents of the town as a way of memorializing them for posterity. There are over 300 of these cotton-filled effigies all over the town in different poses, including fishing, working on farms, chopping wood, and people just going about their everyday lives in the now largely abandoned village. There's even a whole bunch of scarecrows that look like they're having a meeting in an abandoned community centre. The town is both eerie and fascinating at the same time. And this is the old disused school building. I guess that was the sports oval. So we're in the school auditorium, and I've got to say this is one of the freakiest things I've ever seen. The Scarecrow Village, and this school auditorium in particular, was one of the most unique yet unnerving places I've ever been to. It was quiet and tranquil, perhaps too quiet and too tranquil. These guys are doing a tug of war. This village was put on the map when James May of Top Gear fame visited in 2020, and apparently a scarecrow effigy was made of him. Unfortunately, we couldn't find it. And I think perhaps the saddest thing that I saw at the Scarecrow Village was the effigies of this wedding party, and it made us wonder, what happened to all these people? Have they left the village? Are they still alive? Or have they sadly passed away? However, it was quite fascinating how the work of one artist making all these scarecrows could breathe life into a declining village. And the place is quite famous, especially with YouTubers that do go off the beaten path. Given its remoteness and difficulty getting here, the town does receive several thousand visitors each year to marvel at these scarecrows. The day we visited, there was just Joe and I and 2 other visitors in the town. The relative silence of the place, plus the echoing of your footsteps on the floorboards, gave the place a really haunting vibe. And just at the very end, I managed to spot James May. Nagoro was such a unique, remote and off the beaten path places I've ever been to. It was fascinating yet eerie, tranquil yet foreboding, in one of the areas of Japan that's least visited by foreign visitors, in Shikoku Island. We'd spent around an hour wandering through that small village, and by that stage we were thoroughly frozen, and the temperature had gone down to 1 or 2 Celsius, about 33 or 34 Fahrenheit. It looked like it was threatening to snow, so we hightailed it out of there and went to our next destination. Our hotel, the Sunriver Oboke, which is located about 42 kilometres and just over an hour's drive away. It's one of the few hotels that you can book if you're staying in the Iya Valley. The drive was fairly slow going, especially on the upper parts of Route 439. And we passed many isolated small and remote villages along that route. The weather wasn't improving and it was getting colder and colder outside, and at one stage dipped below 0 degrees Celsius, around 32 degrees Fahrenheit. We kept on driving down and down twisty and narrow mountain roads, passing many small villages, and I was really glad that I didn't live here. I think it'd be absolutely brutal living here in the winter months in these flimsy houses. We kept driving and eventually made it out of the country roads and onto the major road, Route 32, just at the right time because the weather kept deteriorating, and we did get quite a few flurries of light snow as we drove towards our hotel. I have no doubt it'd be snowing, and probably snowing quite heavily, at the Scarecrow Village, being at least 300 or 400 metres above the level of the road that we were currently driving on. It was quite gloomy, but the scenery was spectacular, and I could only imagine how nicer it would have been if it was sunny with bright blue skies. Nevertheless, we pressed on, past quite a lot of road work and quite a few bridges. We were basically travelling along one side of the Iya Valley and the Iya River. The Iya River basically joins the Yoshido River, and we followed its path along its narrow valley and through countless bridges and tunnels until we reached our remote mountain hotel. We'd be spending just the one night. We finally reached our hotel, the Sunriver Oboke, and I'll be doing a separate review of this hotel in a future video.
The following day,
we had a big travel and touring day ahead of us, so we left the hotel early. That's Sunriver Oboke, and I'm not sure whether you can see on the camera, but there is a slight flurry of snow, and there's definitely snow on the tops of those peaks. Frightfully cold. Slightly ugly building from the front too. It was snowing lightly and the temperature hovered around 0 Celsius. We debated whether we should continue to explore the Iya Valley or head to our final destination for the day. Our rental car didn't have snow tyres and neither of us had much experience driving in the snow. We decided to take our chance and head to the Peeing Boy statue and the Horseshoe Bend. Both attractions were close to each other and about 19 kilometres and a half an hour drive away from the hotel. We set out driving under quite dark and foreboding skies. As you can see, there's snow on the nearby hills, floating down a river in freezing conditions just doesn't do it for me today. So
I doubt if it's running either.
No, I doubt that it's running as well. So we've decided to skip that and on to bigger and better things. The higher we got, the more it started snowing and the more concerned we started to be. We were lucky that's the worst it got. As we headed down the hill, we entered a small town. We were only about 5 kilometres from our destination.
At least there's no snow here.
No, there are on the roofs.
Some places they have heated roads, you know.
Do they? Not much.
Snow here.
What does this say?
Oh, it's closed.
Closed. Closed. Yeah.
Well, that's
There's a possible road closure ahead.
no
It's not possible, it's an actual.
You've got a video of this?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
No Peen Boy statue.
Nah.
No horseshoe bend.
Nah.
Oh dear.
We did that snow for nothing.
I know. It was so close, yet so far. We were only about 5 kilometres from our destination. It would have been a beautiful drive along the Iya Valley. We considered our options, and with light snow continuing to fall and uncertain driving conditions, we decided to leave the Iya Valley. We had a ferry to catch that afternoon and certainly didn't want to miss it. We jumped back in the car, braved snowy conditions once again, and made our way to our next destination, the port city of Tokushima. Around about 1 3/4 hours and just over 100 kilometres away. We don't see snow much in Australia, and the scenery was breathtaking. We did stop in 1 or 2 places to admire the views. There's a little bit of snow. Just a little bit of snow. Frightfully cold. Quite disappointed we didn't go to see the Peen Boy statue and the horseshoe bend, but road closures are road closures, I guess. It's absolutely freezing. There's a light flurry of snow as well.
Keep left.
It's a different machine.
Is that?
1, 2, 3.
What's happening?
It just takes a while. Don't panic at this stage.
No panicking? Oh, the barrier's lifted?
Press the ticket machine if you actually want to know how much you've spent.
Right.
Right, can we... I think we're going left, sharp left here.
We took it nice and slowly, and it took us around 2 hours to get to the city of Tokushima. It was quite snowy in the upper part of the mountain ranges, but thankfully we didn't lose any grip at any stage, and we were lucky the weather didn't deteriorate any further. And by the time we got to the coast, we were blessed with sunshine and blue skies. As we headed towards the car rental company to return the car, we contemplated on what a wonderful trip we'd had to Awaji and Shikoku Islands in the previous week. We'd seen so much and were happy to have gone off the beaten path where few Western tourists had ventured. In my next video, I'll cover the process of returning our hire car, catching a ferry from Tokushima to Wakayama, and then getting a couple of regional trains all the way to Osaka. So do look out for that video. I do hope you've liked this video. If so, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button. Hit that notify bell so you'll never miss another upcoming video. If you'd like to support my channel, please consider buying me a coffee or hit that super thanks button. Until next time, you take care and bye now.